I am a couple of seconds late. I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Oh dear. We are looking a bit of a mess today. I have literally just sold something and the customer is in quite a rush for it. So I have been trying to sort that out. And yeah, then I was like, oh dear, it's 2 o'clock. Need to do a live. So I'm hoping a few of you can join me live. I am live from the UK. I'm on the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. My name is Connie. I'm one of your Dixie Belle brand ambassadors. I'm live here every week throughout the month of January and maybe beyond. I don't know yet. I'm sort of going back to basics, back to basics with some stuff, because there has been a flurry of new followers on the Dixie Belle YouTube channel and some of their other social media channels as well. And quite a lot of them obviously new to upcycling, new to painting. And I thought it would be good, start of new year, go back to basics. And so far the feedback has been that the back to basics stuff is being received very well. Let me know what you think. Drop your feedback in the comments. Obviously, we gauge our content based on your feedback. Hi, Jackie. So if there is anything that you'd particularly like me to do, if there is anything that you like to see more than not, let me know. Morning, Sue. Freezing in sunny Southern California. It's freezing here as well. We've got snow still on the ground. Not a lot, but there is snow and a lot of ice, which is making it quite slippy across some parts of the fields. So, like I was saying, back to basics. Every week I'm doing sort of back to basics. Hi, Joanne. Nice to catch you while I'm live. I'm very well, thank you for asking. How are you? Yeah, so back to basics. This here is a work in progress. I'm actually working. This piece is with terraclay paint. I'll let you look, but we're not working on that today. I don't know at the minute whether it's a boho or no. I'm not sure. Quite often with these pieces, I sort of keep going and then it either gets repainted or it turns out okay. We don't know how that's going to turn out yet. So I'm just layering colours on that one at the moment. So if you want to see any more kind of in-depth, maybe intermediate or advanced tutorials or methods or techniques or ways to do more decorative pieces, then if you hop over to my YouTube channel, you can see quite a lot of stuff there, varied techniques and whatnot. I do tend towards to lean colourful, bohemian kind of looks, but I also really like chippy looks, distressed looks. But the main theme for me is colour, with a few clean classics thrown in. I like a clean paint finish, don't get me wrong, on the right piece. But I do lean towards this kind of colourful, crazy thing we've got going on. So, like I say, I'm doing basics. And I thought this week would be perfect to show you some 4-ounce pots, because not only are 4-ounce pots available in chalk mineral paint. Hi, Leslie. Not only are they available now in chalk mineral paint, so this is a 4-ounce pot size, cute, diddy, but mighty, because they go a long way. They are now all available in all colours across terra, silk, metallics and chalk mineral paint. So if you are a beginner, if you have a chair you want to paint, or a crate, or a stool, or a side table, all these pieces here, this was £10 from a charity shop. This, my mum got me from a charity shop. I don't know how much it was, but she won't have paid much because she's like me, savvy. And this is an IKEA crate that I've had years, and actually was one of the first things I ever painted when I started upcycling. I started small. I started with a mirror. Then I did a little sort of similar size side table to this. And then I started painting everything that I had in the house that I could. And this was one of those things. And actually it was horrendous. There was paint drips, there was brush strokes, you name it, it was on this crate. It was horrendous. And I've only recently sanded it all off. And the reason that I had paint drips and brush strokes and all that kind of thing was two things. First one, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't go on YouTube and social media. obviously was around 6 or 7 years ago, obviously, but I didn't know that there was painting tutorials online. I mean, if I'd have Googled it, I probably might have found something, but I do feel like it's come on a huge amount in the last kind of 5 or 6 years with regards to free content out there. So if you are looking for a particular method, technique, colour, whatever it is, I'm pretty sure you would find it on the World Wide Web these days. And the second reason my paint work was crap is because my paint was crap. I went to a big store and I bought some chalk paint and I had no idea what I was buying. I just had a cream, which you can tell that wasn't me for a start. I didn't know what I was doing. I just went for a cream, neutrally kind of colour. I think the colour was Hessian off the top of my head. It was cloggy, it was chalky, it was thick, it was gloopy, it was draggy, it was horrible. And it put me off. And I was like, no, not a big fan, not a big fan. I have an art background-ish. So I studied art at school. I did art for my A-levels. I then went on to fine art college. Then I did a kind of design degree. Hi, Teresa. Welcome to your first time here. I'm Connie. I'm from Faff Designs and I'm a Dixie Belle brand ambassador. So I'm just giving a bit of background as to my painting kind of career. So I did designy kind of stuff at uni. So I've kind of got a bit of an idea of what I'm doing, how to hold a brush, that kind of thing. And this paint was just not going on. The paint that I picked up from my big store, a big, I think it was B&Q, which is, like a big kind of DIY store in the UK. And it was just horrendous and I didn't know what I'd done wrong. And then as time went on, I tried lots and lots of different paints out there. And I actually remember stumbling across Dixie Belle's social media and following all these amazing people that were, working with Dixie Belle and doing all those kind of things. And I actually messaged Dixie Belle and I was like, any way that this paint might be coming to the UK anytime soon? And they were like, no, not at the minute. We don't have any plans to come over to the UK. And I was like, now I'm not saying that there aren't any amazing brands in the UK. However, find what works for you. And I knew with Dixie Belle's colour scheme, and I could tell from all the beautiful, amazing things that their artists were creating, I wanted to get this paint and I wanted to get it in my hands and I wanted to try it. And when it did finally come to the UK, which is only now, is it 3 years ago, I think? I got it straight away. I'm pretty sure I was one of the first in the UK to get my hands on it. And I loved it. And that was it. So you need to find the paint that works for you. Now, the good thing about Dixie Belle is that they actually have 3 paint ranges. So they have chalk mineral paint, they have terra clay paint, and they have silk. Now, really briefly, without me boring you, I'm just going to tell you the differences. And I'm not just going to tell you the differences of the actual paint. I'm going to tell you the differences depending on what your style or what your outcome wants to be. So that's probably what I choose. That's what I look at to choose when I'm choosing my paint. So I'll give you an example. My personal favourite is chalk paint, very, very closely followed by terra. Now, terra might overtake, but terra's still a new paint to me, so I'm still kind of getting to grips with it. And I've had chalk mineral paint, obviously, in the UK for 3 years, and I've been using it pretty much every day for 3 years. So I know this inside out. I know this paint really well. Terra is still new, still getting to grips with it. At first, I was a bit like, huh. Then I was a bit like, huh. And then I was a bit like, ah. Okay, so I'm still experimenting with Terra. I love it. The colours are gorgeous, as you can see here. Beautiful colours. But yeah, so chalk mineral paint, probably my favourite. The reason for that is because it's very versatile. So you can achieve loads and loads of different finishes with chalk mineral paint. So if this is about going back to what I said about choosing the paint for the style of the piece that you want to do. If you want a very clean finish, a one colour finish, I'm sure it's going on for about 5 years. Are you sure? I don't know. Time goes quickly. Time goes quickly when you're having fun. Oh, that's good to hear, Teresa. Thank you. the silk line's been here for 3 years. I don't know. Is it 5? I don't know. I know I've been working with Dixie Belle for 3, maybe longer. I'm not very good with timelines, but we roll, we move. Let's not get caught up in the detail. So if I have a piece of furniture and I want a one colour block colour finish with it, and maybe it's a customer commission, because my customers do lean towards that one colour look. I've just done a piece now. It was a beautiful oak carved blanket box and my customer just wanted it blue. Now, I'm not going to use terra clay paint for that, because terra clay paint works well for layering, blending, chippiness, texture, decorative effects. She wanted a smooth, one colour finish. Terra clay paint is not self-leveling. It holds its texture. So I'm not going to make my life difficult choosing terra clay paint for something that a client wants to be smooth. She did actually say that she really liked a colour that I'd used in the terra clay paint range, which was Blue Moon, which is actually here. I'm using it at the minute. And I steered her away from it. I said, if you want one colour and you want it to be smooth and polished looking, clean looking, then I would probably not use that. But a very similar colour is Deep Sea in the silk range. So because she wanted that look, I kind of guided her towards the silk range, which is going to give me the best outcome for the look that she wants. So chalk mineral paint kind of sits in between two of those, because you can achieve a smooth look with it. You can also achieve lots of other looks with it. You can use it with texture, you can use it for layering and blending and all those things. So that's really what I do. I kind of work backwards. I figure out what look I want for the piece, and then I work backwards, and then I choose my paint from there, if that makes sense at all. So what I was going back to is 4-ounce pots, which is this size, which is a really good size sample. If you see some brands, you get like a teaspoon of sample paint and you're like, what am I going to do with that? This, you can actually paint something like a chair. You could paint a side table. I would say you could probably get maybe 1 small or 2 like maybe like crafty, like a few crafty kind of pieces. But it depends on your application of the product, so that slightly varies. But I'd definitely say you can get a small side table, a couple of chairs, and definitely some crafty bits with these. And they're available in all the ranges now, so silk, chalk mineral paint, and terra clay paint, which is awesome. So application of chalk mineral paint. We're going to just briefly do chalk mineral paint today, because I have a sick child. I've got one at home and I have to go and pick one up from school very shortly. So I'm just going to talk about application really quickly. And the thing about chalk mineral paint is, like I say, you can apply it with a kind of textured finish, or you can get a smooth finish. One sort of, maybe if you're starting out, you just want to paint something and that's it. You don't want to mess around with layers and all different colours, and that might seem a little bit daunting to you. So there's really 2 ways to there's a few different ways to apply paint, don't get me wrong, but there's mainly 2 ways. So the first one is with a synthetic brush. So this is a Dixie Belle brush. It's called a mini, and it's synthetic, which means the bristles are really soft and man-made, synthetic. These are natural bristle brushes. This has got paint on it because I am a bad person, but it's clay paint, so it'll wash out easily. So this is a natural bristle brush. There's a few different natural bristle brushes in the Dixie Belle range. There's also a few different synthetic brushes in the range. I'm just showing you a couple of examples today. So this has obviously got natural bristles, which are a little bit coarser than synthetic, and they also lend themselves really well to applying with texture. So if you want in a smooth finish, you're going to want one of these. If you want a little bit more texture or some kind of decorative effect, then you're going to want something like this. These are very, very inexpensive brushes. They're not very many, I think $6, I think, something like that. They're designed to be used and abused, basically. Chip brushes, the actual name chip brush, is designed to kind of be used and then thrown away. However, I don't throw my chip brushes away. I love them. The more battered they get, I keep them for as long as I possibly can, because they give a really good kind of scratchy dry brush effect, the kind of more battered they get. But anyway, that's for a different video. So 9 times out of 10, people that are starting out want a very smooth finish. Now, remember what I said about when I started painting and how gloopy it was and how many brush strokes there were. You're not going to get that with Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint, because it isn't a typical chalk mineral paint. So it's self-leveling. A lot of chalk paints aren't self-leveling. They hold the texture. This one, with a little bit of water, so you can either damp your brush before application. This is a dry brush, there's no water in this at all. Or you can use a mister bottle directly onto the piece. So you can either damp your brush slightly under a tap if you don't want to shell out for one of these. But what I will say about one of these is, once you've tried it, you won't go back. So these are ultra fine. See how fine it is? You can't even see it. Lovely and refreshing in the summer, not so much in the winter when it's freezing. But these spray an ultra fine mist, and this is just tap water in here, and a little bit of water with Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint. It's just like butter. It's so smooth. And I'm just going to paint the side of this crate, because it's needed repainting for a while. It was, honestly, I'm embarrassed to even show you. Let's have a look, see if we can see the inside, because I haven't sanded that. I mean, it's pretty dirty because it's been stored in like children's things. We all know how grubby and vile children are, especially mine. They're quite feral. You can't really see any brush strokes or drips. Trust me, they are there and they are horrendous. It is embarrassing. It's embarrassing, but we've all got to start somewhere, haven't we? And dare I say it, had I have not started there with a pretty crappy paint, I probably wouldn't have found Dixie Belle. But I was adamant. I was like, this can't be what people use. It can't be. It can't be. And some people might like that paint. That's fine. Each to their own. I'm not going to name any names because I'm not like that. But it just wasn't the right paint for me. And this is why it's really... Let me just twist you around. Sorry, I hope you didn't feel cathartic then. This is why you need to test them, and this is why it's so good to have these size pots, because you can test them. But I guarantee, you try chalk mineral paint, you'll love it. I'm not going to use either of these colours. I just wanted to show you how much a 4 ounce pot is. And in comparison, and don't judge me on the state of this pot, that's the next size up. So this is 8 ounce, and that's 4. Obviously, that's half of that, obviously. Quick maths. But that's the next size up. The next size up from that is 16, and then there's a 32, and then you can essentially buy a bucket of Dixie Belle. It's absolutely huge, and I did once. I accidentally ordered a bucket size mermaid tail of the chalk mineral paint, and I didn't mean to order that size, and I'm pretty sure I'll probably never get used through it in my entire lifetime. So I'm going to use this, which is pine cone. I'm going to use this, which is a synthetic mini brush. And I'm going to use this, which is just tap water in my mister bottle. I won't show you other mister bottles because they are a bit gunked up. This one's nice and new and clean. So what I prefer to do is damp my brush slightly. And what that can help with is not only gliding the paint on smooth and encouraging it to level out, that self-leveling property that I was talking about. What it can also do, if you just slightly missed there, kindly go away. How is it? I've got do not disturb on. I've got do not disturb on, and someone's trying to ring me still. Apologies if my phone goes off again. It shouldn't, because I've got do not disturb on, but my phone's still ringing for some reason. Figure that out. Technology. So what it can do is not only help the paint glide on, but it also helps you clean your brush as well. So if you dip your paint, your dry brush into paint, it can grab onto the bristles and makes cleaning it a little bit harder. So make your life easier. Just damp your bristles ever so slightly. Ever so slightly, just makes cleaning it at the back end easier. And then also what I do is I usually hold my mister bottle about, I don't know, a foot away, and that just dispenses a real light mist over the surface. Now this is raw wood because I've sanded all my really bad paint job off from about 7 years ago, and that's how much I'm going to use. So I am digging it in my crummy pot. So all I do is dip my brush in, take the excess off, and you will be so surprised how far this paint goes. Now I'm just going to put a slight bit more water on here because this is raw wood, so it's absorbent, so it's just going to suck the water and paint in. And I'm using my left hand, so this is going to be a test. And then all you need to do is, we're going to need more water. It is just sucking the paint in because it's dry wood. So 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be painting something that's raw wood. You'll be painting something that's already got a finish on it. And if you want to learn about prep, then there are some videos that cover that. If you go over to my YouTube channel, which is called Faff Designs, I do talk about prep more in depth than what I do on here, because I always try and show Dixie Belle products when I'm on the Dixie Belle YouTube channel, rather than rattling on about non-Dixie Belle products, you know, about prep work and all of that. But I do go into more detail on my own YouTube channel, things like veneer, laminate, solid wood, waxed wood, and how to prepare all of those different surfaces to get them ready for painting. But 9 times out of 10, you'll need a clean, usually just give it a good clean and rinse. I use Dixie Belle's White Lightning because it's a degreaser. It's super powerful. You only need a little bit and it lasts you ages. Rinse it all off and then give it a slight scuff sand and you're ready to go. But there are exceptions to that. So if you did want a particular kind of, if you've got a surface that you're unsure of, you can either head over to my YouTube channel and check those videos out, or drop me a message on Instagram or Facebook and I'll help you out where I can. So you can see how quick and easy that first coat went on. It's drying already because I've got a heater here, and also it's raw wood. But let me just show you how, can you see how smooth it is? That's just one coat, and that's the colour pine cone. So I'm using it as a base because I'm going to do something a bit funky with this crate and give it a new lease of life because it is a bit boring at the minute. So can you just see how smooth that went on? So it's not, it doesn't, if you've used like a typical chalk paint that doesn't self-level, then you'll know that they kind of do tend to want to hold a bit of texture. They can kind of pull and drag, and then you have to kind of sand in between, smooth it out, and then do another coat. You don't have to do that with chalk mineral paint. And here, I don't know if you can tell, I have to just catch the light. It's not actually brush strokes, it's just because I need to put another coat. So obviously I've done a really thin coat. The second coat will cover any kind of bits where it hasn't covered first time. But it's better to work in thin layers, and that goes for all the products. It's better to work in thin layers, and that's whether you are painting, top coating, waxing, anything like that. It's better to work in several thin layers than it is to try and cover what in one coat, because that is when you're going to end up with texture and drips and runs and all kinds of problems. So a couple of thin coats is absolutely fine. Let me just swing round. I want to know who was ringing me now. I want to know what mobile number it was who dared ring me on a Tuesday afternoon when I'm live. It was an unknown number as well. It wasn't an unknown number. It was a mobile number, but one that my phone didn't recognise. Intriguing. So I'll just show you again on the bottom, and then I will skedaddle off. Thin to win, exactly. So you hardly need any paint at all. And then the last thing I do when I've got coverage is, before the paint started to dry, with obviously the same brush that I've just used, I very, very lightly, without applying any pressure on the surface, I just run the brush over and use the same direction every time. So I'm not using that direction and then that direction. I'm just using the same direction every time. And that's what's called laying off. Sometimes they call it laying off. And that just means that it's going to smooth that paint, encourage the self-leveling properties, and it's going to just get you a really smooth, consistent finish. So obviously I've used pine cone here, which is this brown, but you can use any of the colours and they'll get you the same effect in the chalk mineral paint. And there are 68 colours, I think, in the chalk mineral paint range. So there is an absolute massive range of colours, which means now that you can get everything in 4 ounce, you can buy more colours. And colours are good. So I'm not going to show you what I'm doing on this piece because it's a little bit experimental. It's kind of a look that with the 69. I thought it was 68, but there we go. You know, brand ambassador. I should have checked my facts, shouldn't I? I thought it was 68. Thanks, Jackie. Checks in the post. I'm not sure what I'm actually going to do with this piece. It's going to be a bit of an experiment piece on a technique that I want to try out on something. But when I'm trying out new techniques, I always try and do it on something really small first, because that way, if you mess it up, it's not too bad. You can sand it off and start again. And it's only something small that you've got to worry about. So that brings me on to the end of your project. So fast forward, imagine I've done 2 coats of this brown and I just want to leave it at that. A lot of people think you have to seal chalk mineral paint. You actually don't. It is very durable on its own. If this was a little decorative crate and I was just popping it under my coffee table and it was just there to maybe, you know, look pretty and maybe have some magazines in or something. I don't know what people do to coffee tables. I ain't posh, I ain't got a coffee table. So if you were just doing that, then I wouldn't bother doing anything else to it. If you are refinishing a dining table, then, you know, we need to talk about maybe adding a top coat. So top coats change the sheen level. So it's a matte. When it dries, it's a matte finish. Top coats can change the sheen level. They can also add durability. So if you have got something that is going to get wet, or you're going to have products laying on it, or you're going to be eating, like dining table, you need something that's going to be extra durable. So that's when you'd use gator hide. But there's loads of different top coats and alternatives. I am a massive wax fan. You know that I love waxes if you watched me before. So I tend to finish a lot of my pieces using wax. And I've never had a problem with durability. A lot of people say like wax isn't as good as a top coat or whatever. It all depends what you're using it for. We can cover top coats in a different video if you want me to. I don't really want to go into it now because it's a big one. It's a big one. A lot of it's personal preference, and then the other side is usability, what you're going to be using it for and how you want the piece to look. So if you don't want a really shiny look, you can use a matte top coat. If you want a really shiny look, you can use a gloss top coat. So there's loads and loads of different things that you can do, but you don't need to seal chalk mineral paint. Terra clay paint, you absolutely do need to seal this. This is very, very porous, and I wouldn't advise not sealing it. Silk mineral paint has got a built-in top coat, so you don't need to seal it like you don't chalk mineral paint, but it's got a built-in top coat equivalent to one coat of clear coat, but the sheen level is equivalent to a kind of eggshell. So whereas this will give you a very matte flat finish, and for that reason a lot of people do top coat it for changing the sheen level if they want a nice shine to it, and for cleaning purposes as well. So if you've got a slight shiny finish, it's a lot easier to dust than if something's matte, because obviously a matte finish can show fingerprints and dust and all those kind of things. So yeah, that's kind of finishing your project. So I hope that kind of covers the basics of chalk mineral paint. I've probably lost something, missed something out and forgotten something, because with furniture painting, it's never black and white. It's colour. That was very cheesy, but I like it. It isn't ever black and white. Like, somebody could come to me on social media and say, I have this piece and I want this finish. how do I get it? And then somebody else could achieve that look with a different method. So I'm just telling you how I use products, but if you have a specific look, you need to go back and look through the Dixie Belle YouTube channel, find all their videos, look up all of your content creators and brand ambassadors who are creating content every single day. And there's some absolutely amazing artists that work with Dixie Belle. So, and there's so much content, it's actually insane. It's a little bit overwhelming. But like I say, there's a massive back catalogue on here that shows you so many different techniques. I'm pretty sure there isn't a technique that hasn't been covered. Isn't it? There isn't a technique that hasn't, you know what I mean? There's something out there for everyone, no matter what the outcome. There is something. Using white is probably why you're feeling iffy about that lovely piece you're working on. Yeah, well, it's not white anymore, is it? It's not white anymore. I just don't know. You know, when you layer in loads of colours and you kind of have, it's like ride or die type thing. You kind of have to keep going and hoping for the best. And then all of a sudden it comes together. But sometimes it also can look like a dog's dinner. So we're at that phase at the moment with the layering process. But yeah, hopefully that kind of covers the basics of chalk manure paint. Like I say, if you have any feedback, if you have any questions about anything that I've covered today, please drop them in the comments, because like I say, your feedback is how I base my content, is what I base my content on. Any tips on how to open lids that are sealed shut? So if you've got a screw top lid like this, bang it on the floor a couple of times. So I tend to bang it like that on the side, but just be careful, you can crack the lid. Or turn it upside down completely and bang it, or run it under hot water, run it under the hot tap. And just make sure you keep like a pack of baby wipes to wipe round the lid. See, this is what I know you should do. What I do in reality is this. I can't even get the lid back on this. It's also got hair on it. That's nice. That's the lid. Yeah, I can't even get the lid back on. So if you want to do what I do, just do that, which is grim and bad behaviour, and I'm a naughty person. Keep a pack of baby wipes in your workshop or wherever you're painting, and just wipe the lip before you put the lid back on. That's best practice. But as you can see, I don't take my own advice, because that's a mess. That is disgusting. So yeah, I think that's it. I think I've covered everything. Like I say, if you've got any questions, you can either drop them in the comments here, contact me directly on my social media accounts. You can find me at Faff Designs everywhere. Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all the places. I think I missed one out. Did I? I don't know. Yeah, drop me a message if you've got anything. Put Glad Wrap over the top before you close the lid. Yes, also Glad Wrap, Saran Wrap, cling film, we call it in the UK. You can put a layer of that over. Again, I don't do that either. But all great ideas. Ones that I should probably follow myself. Yeah, drop me a message if you've got any questions on anything specific. Please let me know in the comments. If you're watching on the replay, let me know in the comments about videos, what you'd like to see me do, what you'd not like to see me do. Dancing. I wouldn't like to see me do dancing. That's not pretty. But yeah, comment and let me know if you are liking these back to basics, or would you prefer me to go back to my usual kind of random I'll show you what I'm working on this week content, because I can do that as well. Yeah, so let me know. It's been lovely chatting to you all. As always, more singing and dancing. So no, I'd actually rather dance than sing, I think. Thanks, Joanne. She's okay. I think she'll be back at school tomorrow. She better be, because I've got work to do. Yeah, so I will catch you all next week. Thanks for chatting with you. It's been absolutely lovely as always. Please make sure you subscribe to the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. And if you get a chance, hop over to my YouTube channel and subscribe there also. And I will see you next week. Bye.